Hello and welcome to Kirly-Sue's Plant-Based Kitchen, where I, your host, Kirly-Sue, will be discussing all things plant-based. So today in Kirly-Sue's Kitchen, we have a special guest who is Helen Long from Living with Warmth, which is a vegan family guide. So we're really pleased to have her today. Just before we speak to Helen, if you want to message us, you can text us on 82228, starting with the word hope, then you leave a space and then you give us your message or your question. So again, it's 82228, leave a space, have the word hope, and then start your message with the question or a comment. So welcome, first of all, to Helen from Living with Warmth, which is the vegan family guide. Welcome, Helen. So great for you to join us today.
It's great to be here.
Yes. So tell me a little about Living with Warmth, which is such a lovely name for a website, and what you do, what can I find on your website and so forth as well.
Well, the warmth bit means how can you spread peace around you, have a warm presence when you're with people. And I think that's very important in the way we raise children. If we want vegan children and children who are compassionate to other humans as well as animals, then we should be warm towards them, and then they would be warm back to us. But it can also mean, I think, feeling warm in that you're in a well-insulated house with solar energy.
Okay.
And when I first came up with the name, that was quite a few years ago, and I always wanted to feel warm, but I was often quite chilly. So now I feel I have both types in my life.
That's brilliant. And for those who live in a warm country, they already have their built-in warmth. So it's more, I guess, a focus on, I think that's wonderful, spreading warmth and being warm and kind to each other, because recent events in the media have shown that some human beings can be the complete opposite. And I really do not understand where they find all this hate from. I just think, I don't know how they have the time and the energy, to be quite honest. It's actually much easier to be nice as far as I can see.
Yeah, it uses much less energy and it gives you a boost, I think.
Yes.
I agree with my child, if they do something like sharing, they have a little, oh, I didn't want to.
Yeah.
If they did something like switching off daddy's laptop, they did the other day, then they know they've done wrong. They lose a bit of energy.
All right. So our topic today is, can children be brought up vegan? So I am a vegan. I don't have any kids, but I'm author of the cookbook Cooking with Kids, which has sold a ton of copies. And a lot of people say they want their child to be vegan and they don't know how. And they're always worried about the nutrients, and the classic one for vegans, how do you get your protein? So what advice would you have for parents who want to bring up their child as a vegan?
Well, set a good example yourself. Have a healthy diet. A vegan diet can be just as healthy as any other diet. But you still, whatever you eat, you have to think about it a bit. I've put together some things my child likes eating.
Oh, lovely. Let's see.
So fermented things like miso and sauerkraut.
What and sauerkraut? So if you hold it a little closer to the
miso and sauerkraut.
Miso
They
taste
really like these funny, strong tastes at the moment. I don't know if they'll grow out of that. But those, I think they're good for your diet. They give you some B vitamins, apparently.
Okay.
And I put a tray of snacks over there. I might come back to that. But generally, have a good diet yourself and let them see you having a good diet and taste what you're eating and cook together. And then I'd say, as long as you're eating well, they should learn to eat well.
I would totally agree. And in my book, I have 75 recipes altogether. And there's lots of different choices for people who want to give their child vegan food. So I'll just give you a quick note of some of the types of recipes in there. So there's main course, there's things for packed lunch, there's also stuff for breakfast, there's all kinds of things, baked good if you like to do cookies and things like that. So for example, for breakfast, you can have plantain porridge or make your own granola. For lunchbox, it's different. You can do salads in a jar, and really nice salads with different colors and flavors to make your children like, I mean, we eat with our eyes, not just with our mouths. So to make it colorful, kids like lots of bright colors and so forth as well. But Helen, you've got some stuff you want to show us, I think.
Yes. This is a really good snack. I know a lot of people wonder what to put in their lunchbox.
Okay, so for those who are just listening, sorry, remember this is video and audio.
This is seaweed sheets.
Ah, okay. My sister loves those.
They're just really easy to carry around with you. They're so light and also healthy. You get some iodine from that.
Okay.
And I also like to make waffles sometimes for breakfast because they're quite quick and easy, and the waffle machine is very easy to clean. But also you can bring it out with you afterwards. So if my child doesn't finish their breakfast, then I can just be feeding them these waffles.
That's really good because it avoids waste as well. That's really good.
Yeah. And then fruit and dried fruit. Dried fruit you can just leave in a tub on your buggy. So you don't have to remember to bring it with you. And I've got, this is called a radish cake, which you can get in an Oriental supermarket.
Okay, I've never heard of that, a radish cake. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a nice little thing you can carry around. It's very soft. It's made of rice and radishes.
Okay, would that be kind of quite peppery or spicy in the taste, or no? Because
no, really. I thought it sounded awful when my husband told me, but they're very nice actually.
Yeah, it doesn't sound kind of something you'd find in a bakery in London or in the UK usually, but I'm sure I like to try new things. So radish cakes, you can get them from different Asian Chinese supermarkets. Okay, I might pop. There's a few Chinese supermarkets near me, so I'll pop in and try them.
Yeah, look into it. It's
radish cake.
Like bubble and squeak in a way. But
it's like bubble and squeak.
Yeah, I think the taste is slightly similar.
Let me just explain, because we have viewers and listeners from around the world. Bubble and squeak is made from, I think it's cabbage. Is it potato? Cabbage, potato. What else is in it? Help me out, Helen. Pardon?
I think it's cabbage, potatoes, and onions. Is it?
Cabbage, potatoes, and onions. And you.
Like the eggs if you're not a vegan.
Yes, but you could still it's kind of using up, it was an old recipe for using up leftovers. So cabbage, potato and onions, and then obviously wherever you are in the world you can add your favorite seasonings or additions to that, and you can kind of stir fry it, I think. Yes. Okay, yeah. Oh, so it's like a version of bubble and squeak. Sounds great. So what else do you have for us?
I've also got peanut butter.
I love it.
They say you shouldn't give it too early, but my child's nearly 2 now. So this is a really easy snack you can put on a rice cake, and you can bring it out with you or eat it in the house.
Okay, that's a really good idea. Yeah.
My child is also very keen on sugar-free strawberry jam at the moment.
I love it.
Several times a day.
Yeah, there are a few different brands of sugar-free jam. And there's different types. There's ones that are low in sugar and some that have like a artificial sweetener. So I would go more for the brands that they don't use artificial sweetener. They probably use apple juice instead. And you can see.
I've seen one that uses grape as well.
Yes, apples, grapes, things like that. I would steer clear of the ones that use names of things you've never heard of that begin with an X or some funny ingredient. Usually if you haven't heard of the ingredients, it's because it's usually not good for you. So yes. Yeah. Anything else you have for us?
Yeah, got some more things laid out.
Oh wow, we're having a whole feast today.
Yeah.
So that's some really good tips so far of snacks that people can try with their kids.
other things, can't see me, from the Asian supermarket. This is bean curd.
Bean curd, yes, I'm familiar with
Like
that.
fried tofu, and you put it in water.
Is it similar to tofu, or is it the same? Is bean curd and tofu two different things?
It might be something like there's curds and whey, and this is a bit that comes off of it. I'm
Ah,
not
okay,
really sure.
right.
So, but it's very nice.
How do you cook it, the bean curd? Do you use it like a stir fry?
You can soak it in cold water for a while and then put it in a stir fry. Or if you don't have time to soak it in cold water, you can put it in hot water, and that's quicker. But it wouldn't be so easy to stir fry it that way.
Right. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then fungus is another thing you can soak and use. Also dried mushrooms and
Dried mushrooms, yeah.
And one thing you can do with all these things is you can put them in a rice cooker and put it on the porridge setting, and then go out and come back, and it would have made you a sort of a soupy thing.
Oh, lovely. I love those set and forget for a while kind of recipes.
They're very useful when you're a parent and you're quite busy.
You obviously got it down to a science.
Yeah. And then this is deep fried tofu. It's already deep fried, so it's not that healthy, but it's quite nice.
Okay, in moderation, I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah. There's lots of different types of tofu out there. I think when we think of tofu, sometimes you just think of something quite bland and boring, but you can get all kinds of marinated or smoked or different textures and things. And my child likes that as well.
Okay, cool. Do you have any other snacks for us? Not that I'm being greedy. I know we've seen tons. Do you have any others?
Well, this is black bean, which my husband used to make a sauce with this.
Oh, black bean sauce. Yes, lovely. Oh, he makes it himself. He doesn't just go to Sainsbury's. Okay, I guess.
Yeah. We live in a co-housing community.
Tell me about a co-housing community. I've not really heard of one before.
Oh, yeah.
Until I met your son.
One thing that happens is community meals.
Oh.
Last week, my husband made this with the black bean sauce and deep fried tofu.
Oh, he made when you say this, can you tell us what it's
Oh yeah, it's a stir fried deep fried tofu with black bean sauce.
Oh.
And the co-housing community, it's a housing development, but it's run by the members, and the houses are eco-friendly, and the layout is designed so as you interact with people without planning it more frequently.
Oh.
And also there's a kind of a social calendar which includes meals. Because of the current situation, we can't have meals in the common house anymore. So this was a takeaway service, which some people do outdoors in small groups within their household unit.
Okay. That's amazing. So how do you get to live in co-housing?
You can go on the Co-Housing Network website and you can find a map of where the ones are in the UK. If you're in another country, there's probably another organisation.
Okay.
And then you would go on the website and find out if there are any spaces, and you might be put on a mailing list. And then if a house becomes available, they would contact you. And then everywhere has a different membership policy and procedure that you'd have to go through to see if you suit it.
Oh, that sounds really cool. So when you have meals together, is it like a potluck where everybody brings something?
Well, we've only just moved here, so we weren't here when it was properly. But I've heard that they would sometimes do a potluck, or sometimes they would take turns to cook.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
There's other places like this called eco villages, which you can find through the Global Eco Village Network. They also have shared meals. And those places you can just go to visit.
Okay, lovely. So your website, tell us about some of the different things that you can find on there. It's called Living with Warmth, and it's a vegan family guide. So tell me about it.
Well, when I was pregnant, I found I kept buying the wrong thing, or there'd be things I was looking for and I couldn't find the information. And so I decided to make a guide which would make it easier for other pregnant vegans. So there's things like nappy cream and nipple balm. I was at the time, I was looking for formula milk because I was worried I wouldn't be able to breastfeed. But as it was, I could. So I didn't need any of that. But that's on there. Although also advice about how to breastfeed, because I think that's better if you're in a situation where you can.
Mm-hmm.
And on vegan shoes, children, and learning resources. I've got some of those to show you as well. For vegan learning resources, vegan children's books, and your books on there. Adults books for children.
Oh, lovely.
What else is there? There's a map with places you can go on holiday, vegan B&Bs, which have space for children.
Fab.
Which have high chairs and toys.
So it's kind of like a trip advisor for vegan parents.
Yeah.
Sort of, yeah. Oh, cool.
I'm just thinking what else is there. And then there's some general things about things we found useful about co-sleeping. And we've also potty trained our child when they were a baby. So I added that on because it's handy.
So it's general parenting tips, but also if you're a vegan, there's lots of advice. And
it's mainly vegan, and then some things are really useful, so I just chuck them in.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really good. So what would you say are some common myths that some people come up with when it comes to bringing up your child a vegan? What are some of the common myths, would you say? I mean, I can name a few, but let me see.
I would say, actually, before I answer that, is that people have been very nice to me on the whole. A lot of people are quite anxious about how their midwife will treat them, but I've never had that problem.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think other people have that I know, but I had a very good experience. So common myths. Well, a lot of people would think that when the child gets to a certain age, they have to have cow's milk, and that would be better than breast milk or any other type of milk. But I don't know if that's because of calcium, but there are other places you can get calcium from, such as an onion or walnut or tahini, or loads of sources of calcium. You don't need to have cow's milk. And a lot of people have a slight intolerance anyway.
Yes.
Also, people worry about protein, as they would with an adult. I think people asked me about my pregnancy, not always in an accusing way, more that they were just curious and they wondered if I had to be given a special type of a vitamin because I might be lacking something.
Oh, okay.
I did take vitamins, but no one particularly told me to. People worry a lot about how the child will be accepted when they go to school and when they go to parties.
In this day and age? Okay. All right.
It probably depends where you live, doesn't it?
Yeah, it depends what circles you move in.
I used to live in London, I think quite near to you. So there, I can't imagine it would be an issue. But maybe elsewhere, where there are less ratio of vegans to not vegans.
Okay.
I think also at school, even if the other children are nice, there might be some things that would make you feel uncomfortable. Such hatching chicks out, or visiting a farm, or dissecting
a frog at school. Yeah. I really managed. I wasn't a vegan when I was at school, but I did manage to get out of it.
I got out of it as well. Yeah.
Okay. Now this is really good. In terms of vegan myths, I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, and a lot of our listeners, not all, but there's a significant number of our listeners and viewers who are Seventh-day Adventists. So the Seventh-day Adventist religion encourages, doesn't say you have to be, but encourages a plant-based diet. When they look at the healthiest people in the world, in the blue areas of the world and so forth, Seventh-day Adventists come up in the top with regards to the healthiest people in the world, with the longest lives and so forth. So if you're a Seventh-day Adventist, people are usually really good. If you say you're vegan, they know what you more or less know what you will and won't eat, and it's not seen as big a challenge, because a lot of people who are Seventh-day Adventists already observe a plant-based diet. So we have, usually in our churches, they don't, if we have a potluck, it's almost always a plant-based diet. So it's actually really easy for those who are vegetarian or vegan. They usually have a vegan option as well. So it's really good. So in that respect, it's easy for me. But if you're not part of that community, it can be a little challenging. I suppose it depends on the circles that you move in, but it's still something that people are a bit curious about. Some of the myths that I've come across is always how do you get your protein and calcium? Can you eat out? All of these things.
I've found eating out's become quite easy recently.
A lot easier, particularly in London. There's so many options these days. And I always advise people, if you're eating out and you're taking your kids along, what I always do is go online, look at the restaurant you're going to. Say if somebody's having a celebration in a restaurant, I always go online and look at the restaurant first of all, and then see what they have on the menu that is suitable. If they haven't got anything much, then I will call the restaurant ahead of time and see if they can prepare something. If they're not able to do that, then I eat before I go. So then just have whatever I can, side dishes. But what I don't want is to be the moaning, complaining vegan, well, there's nothing for us. And I just think, well, it's not a vegan restaurant, so why do you think there's going to be? So I always prepare in advance for it. And it's the same with kids. It's teaching them not to be a moaning, complaining vegan. It's just to understand some people are not vegan, and sometimes you're just going to have to eat before you go. And then when you get there, you can just have, drinks and snacks or whatever. And the focus is on whoever's been celebrated that day.
Do people bring their own little cakes when they go to a party?
Yes. Yes.
Doggy bag.
I think that's a good idea. I went to a ball a couple of years ago with my sister, and they said, yes, we have vegan options, but I'd been to the ball the year before I went. So that was the second time I'd gone, or third. And the vegan option wasn't that amazing. So I thought, right, I'm taking no chances. So I had a little food flask, just about this big. And what I did, I put some chickpea curry in there as a backup. And I also had a backup little cake for dessert, just in case, because they love to give you fruit salad, which is just so not, no thought gone into. I just think, okay, big deal, particularly in winter when you're like, yeah, what fruit? So it's nothing amazing. So I brought the chickpea curry with me, and I had it in my bag in a food flask. And they actually had really good options, but the kind of stew thing wasn't that great. So I just took out my chickpea curry, and somebody on my table went, oh my gosh, I'm a vegan as well. You don't have any spare, do you? I said, yeah, sure. So I was able to share it. And for dessert, it wasn't anything amazing. So I shared the cakes as well. And people on the table were like, oh, wow, you brought your own. Why not? Okay, so I wanted to ask you a few more things. What would you wish you had known? If you could turn back the clock, what do you wish you had known prior to bringing up your child as a vegan? Is there anything you think, oh, I wish I'd known that to start with?
I wish that I'd known what lanolin and Sura alba mean. They mean sheep's wool and beeswax. So I bought some things which I shouldn't have bought. So that was a waste of money. I I'm not sure, but it hasn't been much of an issue. I think if we'd gone to nursery, maybe more issues would have arose.
Right.
We wanted to go to playgroups together, and they were with me all day, and then the lockdown happened.
Oh, I see. So you haven't kind of, because your child is what, two?
Nearly two.
Nearly
Yeah.
two. Okay. Okay, so that's good. That's good that you haven't had anything you think, oh, but that's still good to note about the lanolin. And what was the name of the other product? Lanolin and
Sierra Alba or
Kera Alba.
Alba.
Yes. Okay. There's so many different ones, and I think it's just about Googling them. Okay. So just to end, because we need to wrap up shortly, what are some of your favorite vegan recipes?
Oh, my mum sent me mung bean curry. This is what I ate.
Lovely. Yes. Oh, wow. Mung bean curry. Okay, cool.
Mung beans overnight, and then you boil them with onions, garlic, ginger, and some other spices, and rice and potatoes, curry powder and cumin,
Mm-hmm.
and you put some lemon juice on the top once it's cooked, and it takes about an hour to cook.
Lovely. Sounds super delicious. I think I'll pop out later and get some mung beans. I haven't had mung beans in a little while. Sounds great. Thank you. So where can people find you on social media? I know it's www.livingwithwarmth.com is one of the places. Are you anywhere else on social media?
I'm also at Living W Warmth, because Living with Warmth is too long.
Okay.
Living with Warmth.
Okay.
Most of the networks.
Okay. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube as well?
Yes, but I haven't posted anything. But I've made a playlist of people reading vegan children's books, and also little documentaries which are suitable for children to watch. So that's where. And then I'm also on some entirely vegan social networks, and also Beyond Animal,
Mm-hmm.
and In Vegans We Trust.
Oh, what's OSO? I haven't heard of that one.
It's a vegan social network. It just started, relaunched last week. It's
Okay.
clothes mostly, and it has a shop which is plastic free and sustainably sourced, and recipe section.
Yes.
And then it's a bit like Facebook, that you have your own page and you can send messages to people.
Oh, fabulous. So how do you spell it? Just OSO?
OHSO.green.
Okay.
And there's a bit of my website called Vegan Business Resources, where I put links to these social networks and other things I thought might be useful to people.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Helen. It's been lovely speaking with you today. And thank you for all the snacks and recipes and information about feeding your child vegan food. And I like the way that you have different things, not just your average carrot stick and so forth. You've got different things that people may not have thought of to feed their kids, which is really great. So it's been lovely speaking with you today. So thank you so much for joining us here on Adventist Radio. Eat good, eat clean, eat blessed. Thank you so much for joining us. And for everybody listening and for viewing, thank you so much. See you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.